guys? Welcome to GGrated podcast. Today is April 21st, 2024. Thank you for joining in. Gray, tell them what they got to look forward to today.
Oh, you have to look forward to us talking about Fallout, the new Fallout show on Amazon Prime. It's awesome, and we're going to talk about our favorite scenes and all that jazz. What else we got, Gino?
A little bit of deals, and we're also going to talk about, I want to talk about this new emulator that just got dropped on the iPhone. First time they are now allowing it. Guys, stand by. We got a great show coming up.
That's right. Let's go.
Hello, welcome to GGrated. We hope you enjoy the show. Now here are the hosts.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you may be. This is the GGrated podcast. Welcome, one and all.
Man, I'm glad to be back for another week. I believe this is going to be episode 35. We're glad that y'all stopped in. We hope you had a great week. Yet again, it's been another busy week. We got a lot of good news coming up, a lot of good updates as well. Even as much so as my buddy Josh ended up buying a new vehicle and traded in the Bronco. Can you believe it?
I did. I traded it in on actually an older vehicle, but hey, it still looks pretty new.
Yeah,
it's a
but
2018. Yeah, a 2018 Raptor.
Yeah, so
got a pretty good deal on it. Been having fun on it. Just picked it up Saturday. We're gonna have some adventures on it for sure.
Yeah. So, guys, we got some news coming out. We're going to start with the gaming moment of the week coming up. But right now, let's kind of get into and kind of talk about what we're going to be going over is the life of, I guess, the talk of the week, the talk of the month has been Fallout lately. And we're going to kind of get into it. And it's been a while since we've done it, but I think it'd be a good time to kind of give a little GG rating of season 1 of Fallout. I mean, what do you think, Greg?
Absolutely. That would be great.
You know, okie dokie. So when we go to
okie dokie.
When we go into different segments, we'll just kind of go okie dokie and go into it, man. How's that sound? Oh, no, that's a little too corny, ain't it?
No, it's great. It's perfect. It's very
great.
Fitting.
Perfect. But let's go into our gaming moments of the week.
Gaming moment of the week.
Tell us what you got, Gray.
All right. So my gaming moment of the week is a game my son and I have been playing that we actually played a long time ago, but he's older now and he can do more on it. The game is called Dark Void. I'm just going to get right to it. It's a 2010 game. It's a third-person shooter developed by Airtac Games and published by Capcom. It was originally released in January 2010 for the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and Windows. And you fight robots. Thank you, Shepard. In the game, players must face an alien threat that humanity has previously banished. The game uses Unreal Engine 3, and it is awesome. I know. Okay. Thank
Your son's excited about it. He's like, let me tell you about it.
He's over here playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and he's a good boy. But Dark Void, dude, it's really cool. Basically, what it comes down to is you got a jetpack, and you can fly around. And you can shoot aliens and stuff. You can hover. You fight robots. It's really, really neat. It kind of reminds me a lot of what's the name of that? What's the name of that game with Drake's Fortune?
Oh, you're talking about Uncharted, kind of like
Uncharted. So the main character kind of reminds me of Uncharted. And look at this, man. I mean, it's actually a really fun game.
That looks cool. Like you're flying around, you're shooting stuff. You got like a jetpack.
And you can hover and you can like walk around and stuff. So you can traverse these different areas. I wouldn't say it's really like open world or all the way open world, but there are some bigger maps where you can kind of explore around a little bit. But you know, the maps are linear. You have a story that you have to progress through.
Tell us about the story just real quick. I know y'all kind of had some good gaming moments playing this playing this and all, but like,
Yeah.
oh, it looks like a third person, right?
Yeah, third
Shooter
person
is what we're
action
looking at.
shooter. So
But tell us
basically
about the
what it
story.
ends up, I think you're exploring and you have a plane crash and then you're on this island or something and you go deeper and deeper into the island and you find out there's this tribe that they're, I don't know if they worship or they think that this alien race is gods. So they're pretty much taken over by this alien race, and you're going deeper and deeper into the void, kind of trying to get to the bottom of what's going on. And you lost your friend, so you're trying to find her. And there's a lot going on. I can't remember the story as good. We've just been kind of
Yeah.
having fun with it. But I remember back in the day playing it when I was younger, and I actually beat the whole game. I'm pretty sure I did, and I had a lot of fun with it. Like back in the day, those
Yeah.
games were all the rage. You're looking at Uncharted, you're looking at games like that, like story driven games with actual levels and like a story. The main story is all you needed to focus on. Had a lot
Well,
of
I'll
fun
say
with it,
this
and
too. Like, I remember Uncharted and a lot of those games like that. They released on like PlayStation Vita and these other kind of systems and stuff that was kind of really popular back then. I know Vita didn't do too great, but like PSP and stuff.
mhm.
And you had those like good story games like you're talking about with this game. And it's kind of cool that you kind of bringing your son into it a little bit, because I know you played a little bit more of the story games and stuff. I stuck with like the
Yeah,
sports games mostly and everything. So you kind of got a
mhm.
little good experience when it comes to all these different games. Like I haven't heard of this game and it looks
Dude,
pretty cool.
it's
I'm
really
kind
good
of
one.
hurtful I didn't get to play it when I was younger.
Bro, I mean, honestly though, like I think I got it on Xbox. It's running off the 360 platform, but you can play it on Xbox One. But it's also on Steam. I saw it as on Steam
Oh,
for like $10. And if this game ever goes on sale, I'm gonna have to pick it up because this would be an excellent Steam Deck game. And I do have the plot here. The game's story takes place before World War II and centers around a cargo pilot named William Augustus Gray. His last name's Gray,
it's
voiced by Nolan North, who is
the
teleported to
best.
another world while flying through the Bermuda Triangle. In this world, known
Oh.
as the Void, Will encounters an alien race as well as other humans, which are known as the Watchers and the Survivors, respectively. Will reluctantly joins the Survivors, who are engaged in a feud with the alien race, to satisfy his desire to return to Earth. While aiding the survivors, Will discovers that the Void is a middle ground and connects both the Watchers' homeworld and Earth. It also becomes apparent that the Watchers are supplying the Axis powers with various wartime provisions for reasons unknown. With the help of Nikola Tesla, Will uses retrofitted Watcher technology to combat the Watchers and eventually find a way to escape the Void. So there's your
So
plot.
there's always something to me about these 360 games. I know we can go on and on about this, but like they got
Mhm.
some really good action story games to them. I mean, you even think back to the most popular ones: Halo, Halo 2, Halo 3.
Sure.
Xbox 360 hit, dude. I mean, it
Dude, I
slammed.
loved it. Yeah, they had
Yeah.
a lot of good games. And my gaming moment specifically was me and Shep playing and we're flying around this big map and we're like handing the controller back and forth. Like when he couldn't do a part, he would hand it to me and then we would both say, "Oh, that was so cool." And we would hand it back and forth and we're actually playing this game in a shared experience, which was really fun and really cool to do with my son. So that's my gaming
Dude.
moment.
Dude, that's awesome there, man. I think playing with the son and everything. I know you mentioned before in an earlier podcast in reference to y'all playing Spider-Man, kind of doing the same thing, like handing over the controller and stuff, and if he
Mhm.
gets in a tough spot. So that kind of man, I'm telling you, he's going to remember that game now, just kind of like you remembered it. When he gets older, he's going to remember that game. So that's pretty cool.
Yes,
Man,
it is.
I will talk about my gaming moment of the week. Before I go into that, though, I just got to show you. So this weekend we went into the crawfish. I had a crawfish bowl over at my fraternity, Kappa Alpha Order.
Mhm.
Um, Do it Ladons for all my KAs out there that listen, which stands for we do it for God and women, right? So just want to throw that out there for all my KAs, but any of them that are listening. But we had a alumni crawfish bowl. It was really awesome. They put on an awesome event. So I just wanted to kind of show a quick clip and kind of show you, man, these crawfish and the setup they had, dude. It was legit. So I'll show you that just real quick. Let me see if I can see if I can hide this other thing real quick and then kind of go into it.
There we go, baby.
Tell me what you think about
that looks so good. So right now, for audio listeners, we're looking at a big old table full of crawfish and corn.
Yes.
And people everywhere around it digging in and just loving it. Wow,
Yeah.
It looks like it was a beautiful day too, huh?
Dude, it really was. You couldn't beat it at all. And man,
so
I love some crawfish, man. I'm telling you, I love it. But
I
that
have
was
yet
just a little
to
something.
eat any crawfish with you, man. We need to do that.
Oh, I know. And we have a crawfish competition coming up called King of Crawfish that I will be competing in with my team with Major Crimes for our police department. So that's going to be really fun as well. But the thing I really want to talk about, I wanted to kind of get my gaming moment of the week. And so I went to a birthday party on the same day that we had the crawfish bowl, but went to a birthday party. It was Bennett. So happy birthday, Bennett, by the way. And we went to this bowling alley that had an arcade. Well, I ended up having both my kids. They got some cards from my friend Matt, which is Bennett's dad. Gave them some arcade cards, and they got to play little arcades. And I took a quick video of it, which I thought was just super awesome, man, to do.
That's a cool game moment.
Oh, dude, it was cool. I'll show y'all a little video of that as well, if I can get that pulled up.
What's the name of this arcade?
Look at that.
Wow, that looks fun.
It was just inside the bowling alley. It was a little small inside the bowling, but they both got on the racer. And believe it or not, I know Addie's not going to like hearing this, my daughter, but my son actually beat her.
What?
This game? Yes,
that's amazing.
But they were just having a blast on this thing, and they just riding the motorcycles and everything. And man, you still capture those moments, doing that. You see how she's getting into it with her lip. She's biting her lip. And
she's really trying now, huh?
Yeah, he's just screaming the whole time, saying, So we had an awesome. It was an awesome little moment that we had there. We played a lot more games like air hockey and stuff. Couldn't get Shep to put his left hand off the table so don't get hit. But
that's funny.
Yeah, it reminds me of us playing like Daytona Beach, those racing games whenever we was younger, if you remember. Like those games, when you play in the arcades, or we had a thing, guys, when it was called Bangos back where we're from. And they had arcades lined up on the walls, and you can play Mortal Kombat 2, play these different kind of games, these Atari shooter games, space games,
Space Invaders and stuff like that.
Space Invaders and stuff. Yeah. So with having all that and then experiencing that, and you can't get that same experience at home on home consoles. No matter how much you try, you can't.
Right.
And to go in the arcade with all the lights and have them having fun and see them experience what we used to when we was kids, it was a pretty cool moment.
Oh, dude, that is so cool. I love that because arcades, I hope, never die because it is a really special experience, especially with the whole family. So that's an awesome gaming moment.
One day you have to go to OWA with us. It's a park that we have over here, and at the park, they actually have an indoor water park. So we need to go there this summer, and they have a huge arcade in there too.
Let's go, dude! I'm ready.
Amazing. So if anybody has not been there, you definitely need to go. It's an awesome experience. They can go on rides outside, but the winner of the pot is going inside at the water park and then going to the arcade. So
I love that. So speaking of arcades, just really quick, there's an Airbnb that has a full arcade in the basement that I've always wanted to go stay at. It's like an 80s inspired arcade, and it's an 80s inspired bedroom. I think I showed it to you before.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And we might have already talked about it.
I think we looked at that at one point, going and doing that. I think
I think we did too, but it's just really cool that you would have that whole classic arcade all to yourself in an Airbnb. So that's definitely on my list of stuff to do as well.
Well, guys, one thing that you can get from me and Gray a lot, what we talk about and we try to do, and you should definitely be this way, is I don't know what's happening with my dog, but hang on.
We got real life going on here, folks. We're family men. We got crazy children and dogs.
All right, it was the doorman, Amazon. I was like, what's this dog going crazy for? And the thing is, they still ring the doorbell even though they see you right there too, which is crazy.
Yeah,
but
that's funny.
what I was saying is trying different things with your family. You have those families, and it's nice and it's fun to experience like Disney and all that. But there's so much more out there, man. There's like different experiences, like you're talking about with when it comes to having an arcade in the basement, going to different things like that, going to the mountains and going to these different trails, seeing different things. So I'm a huge advocate of trying new stuff like that, compared to just doing the same thing every single year. It's just not my thing.
Right.
It's just not it. And I mean, how do you feel about that? I mean, I feel like we're kind of on the same page when it comes to something like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I definitely like to mix it up and do different things. Yeah. No doubt.
Well, with that, do you want to go into the gaming news of the week?
Oh, let's go, buddy.
So I kind of talked a little bit about, I'm going to brush over it real quick because I'm not an expert when it comes to emulation. I kind of really believe that Gray is more of an expert when it comes to that kind of stuff. But we're going to kind of go into the new thing that's released. Is going to be Delta app, which is on the iOS store now, on the iPhone, which I believe is a big deal.
So is this for iOS and like the Mac computer, or is it just a mobile thing?
Yeah, this is only for iOS because Android's had this. Android, you can pretty much have any app, but the App Store is very regulated. Like they do not allow a lot of stuff, so they're trying to loosen up on that. Ever since the EU has been really pushing for, that's why the iPhones now have USB-C now, right, instead of Lightning, because they push for that. And now they're talking about instead of sideloading apps, like they're allowing a lot of this stuff, and you can see that this Delta app has been used on a lot of different things. This is actually an iPhone that you're looking at. It looks like a 2DS on the screen, but this is actually an iPhone. Yeah. So they have a lot of, these iPhones are pretty powerful too, man. They're really powerful.
Oh yeah, they got really good chips.
I mean, look at that.
Like even the computers and everything have really powerful chips that stay really cool. They just, I don't think they've explored the full depth of what they could do gaming.
This right here is the app. This is what you do, Delta Game Emulator. It can play a lot of different games. I mean, it can play Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, regular Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis is coming. It's on the way as well. But you can just look at it and see
just like a flip Game Boy. Like I thought it was a real one for a second when it was on the screen.
Exactly.
That's really neat.
It runs smooth. All of it runs great, man. And now
is it free to download?
It's free to download. You can add all those, like you had that plus sign at the top. This is all the games that you can actually play. So like I said, the supported systems, regular Nintendo, which is Nintendo Entertainment System, the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo 64, the Game Boy Color, the Game Boy Advance, and the Nintendo DS. And they got more coming, which is probably going to be the 3DS as well. And they say that the GameCube can probably run out in PlayStation 1 so far. Now, I don't know PS2, but you got games like Death Stranding coming out on the iPhone, which is very powerful.
Death Stranding on the iPhone?
Yes, it's coming to the iPhone.
Know that.
It is
crazy.
So you got games like that. They already have Resident Evil 8 playing on the iPhone as well. I bought that game, but you're gonna probably have at least PlayStation 2 or maybe Xbox 360 games can be played on your iPhone. Now, I'm not a big thing about that, but if you have something like that on an iPad, and all you got to do is do a Bluetooth controller to it. And I mean, you sitting here playing emulation on an iPad anywhere you go. You ain't got to carry a big PC or anything, or have 3 or 4 different handhelds to play your games.
Or if you had your backbone and your phone, you could have everything on there. That was one of the the drawing points of the Steam Deck was having all these different emulation games on there, but with a mobile phone, like, you could even just use that for all your emulation
Yeah,
needs. If it's easy, like, if it's a good interface and it's easy to navigate, I could see this getting really popular on the iPhone.
yeah, it's
I
already very
I've played
popular,
stuff
big time.
before on my Android phone, but I've used the controls that were on the screen, and I really do need to get a backbone so I can really explore that space some more.
Yeah, yeah. The back, and that's what they talked about mostly with this is a lot of people are using the backbone the most, and I
Yeah.
think the backbone is going to be a huge driver of all this. So if I want to grade, like when I go to work at night, something like that, or later on this evening, I can sit here and play a Game Boy Color game. Just hook up my backbone controller, and boom, I have buttons and everything. I ain't got to worry about no
That's
configuration,
cool.
and just load up Game Boy Color, any of that kind of stuff. Now I have an analog pocket, which is even better. But
Right.
I mean, if you want something more comfortable, like a backbone controller, I mean, this
Yeah.
Delta emulator is going to be huge. So what you do is that plus sign up at the top is just like you would add in files to your iPhone using iCloud or anything like that. You would plug up your iPhone to the computer, to the PC. You would download the ROM, which you only download ROMs, guys, if you own the game. That was my thing. I'm going to say, if you own the game, there's nothing wrong with that. You do not share these ROMs or anything, but you download the ROMs. Like say Super Mario. Almost everybody has bought Super Mario and has that game, right, on the Super Nintendo, Super Mario World. You download that ROM, place it into your files on your phone, so it's there. When you hit that plus button on the app, you would then click on the ROM. It would then download all the cover art and everything else. And so anytime you want to, and you want to
Ooh.
play the game that you have purchased before in the past that you own, you can hook it up to your backbone and play it anywhere you want. So
Wow. That's
it's
really
it's, it's
cool.
huge. It's
And
huge.
there's even a lot of mod support with these older games. I know there's one of the Pokemon games that you can download and you can actually play multiplayer. Like, I'm talking about one of
I
the
heard
older
about
games.
that.
So my friend Daniel actually does it, and he tried to get me on there, and for some reason I didn't ever get around to it. But it would be really cool to walk around and catch Pokemon together when you just like have a minute to open up your phone and do it on a break or something. That would be really cool experience, and that is something I want to try in the future.
Yeah, we need to definitely try that because, Gray, what's the biggest thing about gaming is putting down your phone and having the time and the location to do it. What's the one thing you always have on you? Your phone.
Oh
You
yeah,
always
got
have
my
your phone.
key, my phone, and wallet. Like, got to make sure those things are.
Keys, phone, wallet. There's a song, I think, with that. Key, phone, wallet.
Yep.
If you know that song,
Spectacles and
throw it in the comments if you know what song I'm talking about, and I'll make sure to throw a download code game to y'all. If you can
there you
name
go.
Keys, phone, wallet, that song, the name or the artist that sings that song, I'll make sure to throw you a download code for a game on Steam.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of, we got some deals, man,
yeah, let's
that we
go
could throw
into it,
their
man.
way too.
Let's go
Let's
into
do
it.
it. So I just want to bring up. Wow.
What you got, man?
So I just wanted to bring up these deals are on Steam and Steam only. Because that's kind of what I track a lot of times. I know last week we were kind of going over everything, but today I'm just going to go over some hot Steam deals so you don't even have to peruse the store. So right now, Halo: The Master Chief Collection is only $9.99. I will say the multiplayer on this game is hit or miss. We did have some issues with it. There's another game called Black Mesa that I've actually never played. It's only $3.99, regular 20. Hellblade is only $2.99, which we talked about that a while back. Terminator Resistance is a game that I wanted to try before and I never got around to. It's $13.99, usually $39.99. Let's see what else we have. Diablo 4. Diablo 4 is that the new one?
That's a new one. That's the new one.
Diablo 4 is only $34.99 right now. It's on sale. Another
Now, if
game
you
that I've
do
tried
have Game
before.
Pass, guys, remember they did drop Diablo 4 into Game Pass, so you can always download that for free. But also, we say free with a asterisk next to it because you do have to pay for the subscription. But just
Right.
a little word of advice on Diablo 4.
So to me, one of the best Call of Duties in the past recent years was the Call of Duty Modern Warfare from 2019. That's the game that I enjoy most out of
Yes,
all of them, even the
absolutely.
newer ones. It's only 1979 right now on Steam,
Great
usually
campaign.
59.99. Yep, that's everything. 1979. You would probably still, if you want extra DLC and stuff. I'm sure they want to get their pound of flesh with all that too. But and here's another game that I've been wanting to try. Battle Bit Remastered is only $7.49. Um, I think this would be a really fun Steam Deck game. I think I bought it in the past and I returned it because I didn't have anybody else to play it with.
What is
But
BattleBit, real quick? Is it
Battle
like the
Bit
battle
looks kind
bots
of like
kind of?
Roblox, but it's a first person shooter, and it's
Okay,
supposed to be really good. Like it looks a lot like Battlefield, except more Minecraft looking.
okay,
If you want to pull it up, like it actually is really popular and
okay.
is supposed to be a really good game.
Battle
Um,
bits.
Battle Bit, yeah,
Okay. Oh yeah, I think we showed this off before, if I remember
I
correctly.
think so too.
I'll pull it up in 1 second so I can show them.
And you have the original
There they are.
Doom is only
There you
yeah,
go.
there it is, Battle Bit, dude. So that might be a pretty fun game to play.
Yeah, I mean,
Supposedly it controls really nice and feels good.
yeah, it reminds me of like a battlefield. They're up on the top of buildings, laying down and everything. So yeah,
Yeah,
guys, definitely
flying
check
around
out
a
BattleBit.
helicopter.
It's just a little different kind of art style. You're gonna have that different kind of people that like those kind of art styles, kind of like a Roblox and stuff like that, that
Mhm.
they just love to play Minecraft. And but
Mhm.
if you like first person shooters as well, this will kind of give you a little bit more, um, get you a little bit more invested in the atmosphere and stuff. So yeah,
That's
this is like
right.
a battlefield, but Roblox. What I'm looking at, you're
Uh-huh.
like in a
That looks
helicopter
cool,
shooting at
right?
other helicopters and all. It looks pretty cool. So I
And it
like those
would
deals,
probably
man.
run great on everything. I just have a couple more. We got
Oh
Doom
yeah,
is $3.99. That'd be a good one to pick up. That's a great game, great story mode. Far Cry 5 is $8.99 and that ends in 23 hours and it goes back up to $59.99. And I could go on and on. If you want to check these out, you can go to gg.deals and check out these deals.
yeah.
But those are the ones that I wanted to highlight that were great deals. But there's many, many more.
Guys, if you
That's
have
it.
any good deals that you know of that's that you think would benefit everybody else to know, drop it down in the comments on YouTube if you can, or you can leave it on our Facebook page and drop a comment on this video. And guys, it's always great if you get these good deals and you keep them in your backlog. You might have an itch to play a little bit later. Get them while they're cheap, put them in your backlog, and then play them whenever you can. So but that will be our gaming news of the week. A little Delta emulator with some deals going your way to let you know what the best deals on the market is right now. What do you say we go into the Fallout real quick?
Let's go. Let's drop some bombs.
Let me.
Drop that bomb. Drop that bomb. Drop the bomb, baby. Fall out.
Man, let's go into Fallout real quick, man, and kind of talk about. First, I'm going to just throw it out there real quick. If you have not watched Fallout, it's been the best to me, the best game adaptation. You,
Oh yeah,
no doubt, no doubt,
no doubt.
and I'm not a huge Fallout guy on gaming. I'll tell y'all right now. I can't say, oh, this little part or this little part. I'm just talking about in general enjoying the show, right? Knowing that, oh yeah, that's gaming. I remember that in the game. That is what it hits so hard onto me. So what's your initial
Yeah.
thoughts on Fallout, Gray?
So my initial thoughts, as soon as I saw it, as soon as it started going, was, oh my gosh, the props and how this thing is shot is so excellent. Everything looks like you just stepped into that world. Nothing looks fake. Nothing looks dumb. Everything is top notch, like highest quality for a game adaptation that I've ever seen, just like you were saying. That was the first thing that I thought about when I started watching Fallout.
Yeah, and I agree. I think the props and all. Like I just saw a video just before we did the podcast where interview, and the main character, I don't know her name. I know you're going to say the names of the actors. You have it, but the main actor, the female, the Pit Boy that they have on the arm, the little computer.
Yeah.
They said it was actually really comfortable, and it actually worked. Then they could play little games on the Pit
No
Boy.
way.
Yeah, so they said they
I want one.
enjoyed
How do you
it.
get one?
I don't know, but they said it worked. Now she said she kept breaking her Pit Boy the whole time.
So you're
like
talking about Miss Ella Purnell, which
Yes.
plays Lucy McLean.
And who is the guy that played the in the suit?
The ghoul?
Not the ghoul.
Oh, you're talking about the guy that plays Maximus?
Yes, Maximus. Who is that? Do you have that name?
So Maximus, where's he at?
So he was the one that was doing the interview with Lucy. I'll just go by names on the show with Lucy McLean.
Okay.
And he was like, "Hey, you need to."
Aaron Moten.
Yeah, Aaron was like, "You need to tell him the truth about the Pit Boy." When they asked about it, it's like, just tell the truth. And you can just tell it's been an issue on the show, shooting the show, where she breaks it so much, you know. But like I said, to be able to play like little games on there, like you really can do on the game, like in real, you know, on real world, on like Fallout 4 and stuff like that. I thought that was super cool.
That is super cool. And man, one guy that I think steals the show in everything that he's ever in is Walton Goggins, which plays the ghoul.
Man, he made the show.
Mr. Cooper Howard, the actor in the show before he turned into a ghoul. But yeah, he is excellent. He plays a really SOB bad guy in this show, and you're just like, man, that dude is such a douche. But you kind of see why as you progress in the story. Hey, and by the way, there's going to be spoilers if you haven't already watched this. I think we're going to have to spoil some stuff if we're going to really talk about it. So if you haven't seen the show, watch the show and then come back and listen. I would say we're gonna definitely talk about spoilers.
We're gonna dive into it and give our thoughts on the entire season. So if you don't want to be spoiled and all that, you can definitely fast forward at this point and go to the outro, and then maybe come back to this podcast if you want. Glad you said that, Greg, because we'll probably have some ticked off people at us about what we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, the ghoul, man, I agree with you. I think the ghoul. There's a bunch of ghouls, obviously, in this movie.
Yeah.
Right? But the main ghoul that has it under control, he just brings a different dynamic to the whole thing. So I agree with you on that.
Speaking of ghouls, I got to tell you, can I tell you like one of my favorite parts in the series?
Yeah.
I think it was on like episode 7 or so. Okay, so you have the knights, which are the dudes in the suits.
Yes.
But you also have the guys that hold all their equipment, the squires.
The squires.
So the replacement squire that comes down and he gets his foot smashed by Maximus, and he meets that guy. He's the traveling snake oil salesman. Meets him in the desert.
The deceiver.
The,
you know,
the guy that you've already found in one of the first episodes. He was doing things with chickens. And he pops up throughout the series.
What is he doing with the chickens, Gray? What is he?
Well, he might be, doing. I don't want to say
chicken. Sexual relations.
You just went ahead and said it, didn't you? He was like, "I'm sorry." He was doing stuff with my chickens, and he's like, "Oh, okay."
If you know, you know. Stares at him as he's running off. It's hilarious.
He's the funniest character. He's like nasty. Like when, okay, so you have that squire. I forget his name. The replacement squire who got his foot smashed by Maximus. He's got the head, and he's walking through the desert on his way to the radio station. And you see, in the foreground, this snake oil salesman, the deceiver, has his toe on the trigger of a gun, and he's got the barrel in his mouth. He's about to commit suicide. And then he sees the squire, and he's like, "Oh, I have a customer." So he runs over there to him, and he convinces the squire that he can heal him. And he gives him this concoction, which I don't know what the squire was thinking to take anything from this crazy lunatic. But basically, he gives him this oil that he goes and he huffs in, and he gets healed. Like his foot
Mhm.
magically goes back together and everything. And he's like, "Oh, thanks, man." Well,
That's how he
later
said it
on, the
too.
squire, yeah, yeah. Later on, the squire gets shot in the neck, and he's like, and he starts like you can hear his air like
Mhm.
breathing out of the holes and everything. And he's like, "Why am I not dead? Why am I not dead?" So I believe he got turned into a ghoul from that
He did.
from
I think he
the
did.
deceiver. And that to me was one of the funniest things. And he's like, "I knew I shouldn't have trusted that guy." That
Like
was like one of my favorite
but
parts.
he's so desperate at that point to
Yeah.
survive, and for him to, I mean, I guess what other options do you have? But I mean, he's going to
Yeah, I
be
guess
done
so.
for. He's going to be done for. And I mean, he was a
Well,
jerk from the
unless he
beginning,
gets that
anyways.
stuff that they have to huff. And
Yeah.
what I really like is they're really good at the development of the characters in this show, and I think that's what makes a good show. So you find out the squire why he was beating up the other dude, and he was kind of being a bully, and he convinced all the other folks to beat up Maximus is because he used to be the one that got beat up by everybody. So,
It's kind of like
hurt
hazing.
people hurt other
Hazing.
people. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, except a little more extreme, I guess.
Yeah.
But so you kind of find out some backstory there, and that he actually felt bad for doing it and everything. And but I don't know what's going to become of that dude. I don't. So I didn't get done completely with episode 8. I got to where I was trying to watch every episode before
I was
this,
on him, guys.
before
I
we
was
actually
on him.
talked about it. I know. So I got through most of episode 8. So I know all the big plot points, but I don't know if the squire ever pops up again. Does he?
Okay, so just to kind of throw out to people, this is definitely for people that has watched the
Yeah,
season,
yeah.
right? But I would say, he goes back. Maximus goes back and with the Brotherhood, and the Brotherhood
Right.
confronts him and actually wants him to join with him. They end up raiding where I forget what her name is, where she
Right.
wants the fuel, the thing from the head, the nuclear reactor or whatever it is that powers the entire city.
Yeah, it's
So
like
they
unlimited energy.
unlimited energy. So he joins up with the Brotherhood to go with them, but his main mission, Maximus' main mission, is to go and find Lucy, right? So, but the Squire is never seen, even at the time whenever they go to the Brotherhood at the camp and all that. You don't know what happens with the Squire in reference to that, and he says that they're going to kill me when they find out. So I'm
Right.
wondering, and it's starting to make you think is, and maybe this is like subplots that we're talking about that nobody's really talking about, but
Yeah.
what is, he's got to have that stuff if you're a ghoul or you turn into like crazy in the mind and you try to eat
A zombie
people,
type
a zombie.
ghoul.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
are they just going to let him do that and just not give him medicine, or are they going to try to actually give him medicine or send him on his own, or are they just going to kill him? Like, there's so many options. The Brotherhood more than likely probably will kill him because he failed.
Mhm. Yeah.
The head was never brought back with them or anything. So I don't think we're going to see him in the future.
We might see him in the
unless-
next season.
Yes, I don't think so. I think the Brotherhood is going to end up, he's going to be killed, or he's just not going to be mentioned again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we do see him, the only option I see is if we do see him is because the Brotherhood released him, like he was gone, and said,
Yeah.
"You're on your own. Get away from here." And then he found a way to survive. I think that's the only way we see that Squire. But that's a good point. I didn't think about the
Yeah.
Squire.
Yeah, because the squire was going to turn in Maximus for
Yeah.
pretending to be a knight. And, that whole plot
Taking the head for
point was a
himself.
little bit, yeah, and he actually brought a head that wasn't the real head to try to trick
Maximus is.
the
Yeah.
Brotherhood. Yeah. So that part of the plot was a little bit contrived. Like, to me, it was a little bit jumbled up there, and that they would forgive him so easily was a little bit jumbled up. But, all in all, I think it was a good story otherwise. But that part was just a little bit maybe messy or too convenient, that the squire just happened to become a ghoul so
Yeah.
that he wouldn't get Maximus in trouble. You know what I mean? Like, they had to build certain things into the plot so that things ended up how they wanted the story to go. And that was kind of apparent on that part, but it was still fun, and they made it fun and exciting to kind of go through their story there.
Yeah, like you said, it kind of goes back to they really dove deep into the stories, right? So when you
Mhm.
dive deep into stories like that, you start getting these subplots that maybe we're not thinking about. But I will
Sure.
give a heads up that Tom Howard, which is the creator of Fallout, and he's a creator of Starfield as well, with Bethesda, he worked alongside him the whole way, and he's actually left out things on this season because they're going to be coming out with a Fallout 5 that specifically will tie into these shows, he says, that we just don't know
Really?
about
That's
yet.
neat.
So
I
he's
like that.
tying a lot of stuff into these shows.
I like that.
So yeah, I really liked. I know it's showing on the screen right now on YouTube, guys, if you're following along. But Lucy confronts this old lady trying
Yeah.
to trying to find her dad at the point, and this old lady was so crazy, man. I remember when she first said, "You're a dweller," like you're a vault dweller. They called her a vault dweller, and
Vaulty.
yeah, vaulty or whatever. But it's just all around. It sucked me into this world. I give it, I give it such a good rating in reference to it, and we'll do a GG rating at the end. I think if you had to pick an episode, Gray, what would be the best scene in episode that you had on this show? I know it's
Oh
8
man.
episodes.
So you know how I love mechs. So I like everything to do with the Brotherhood and the mech suit and all that. But the part that was cool, man, like it's hard to pick out one episode. I can only pick out parts because I don't know like where they were or anything. But you kind of see how trading and stuff is done on the surface in
Bottle
this world.
caps? Yeah.
Bottle caps, you can exchange teeth for bottle caps, which is really neat
Because
too.
steel is really pop. They melt down the bottle caps to make steel
Lead, yeah,
or
and
lead
steel.
and guns and all that. Yeah.
And so what was cool is when she bit off the ghoul's finger, Walton Goggins ghoul, and then he took her hand and he cut off her finger, and he's like, "That's the most honest trade we've done this whole time." So he took her finger because she took his, and then when she went into the hospital where the robot was going to steal her organs, he found another finger in a drawer and he put one on her. Like just that this world is built in that way to where it's very futuristic, but at the same time looks like it's in the 50s, and they can
Yeah.
easily reattach limbs, or like you take the doctor that they took his head off. That doctor lost his leg from like the knee down or something, and they had another leg like boot thing with a bunch of teeth on it that would grind up his leg and attach to it.
I remember that.
And it was so brutal, but so futuristic at the same time. I was like, "What in the world is this?" Like stuff like that. The technology being so brutal and at the same time like a marvel was just a really neat aspect of this. And like those parts are my favorite. That classic looking steampunkish technology. Anytime they had stuff like that, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is my jam."
You was all in on it, and the hit on what
Yeah.
you talked about in reference to the fingers just getting reattached and everything else. That old lady that she confronts that was looking at in the video that calls her a vault dweller, she actually looked at her and was like, "Wow, you got all your limbs and fingers and
Yeah.
all that," and it like freaked her out, and she was like, "I mean, is that a thing? Like, is that a big deal?" And you look around and everybody's got scars, cuts, fingers missing, hands missing. They got machines for their arms now, probably because it got cut off and everything,
Yeah.
because they sell whatever they can to get bottle caps or whatever to survive. It's all about survival. It's nothing about amenities. So that
Yep.
you can't even get simple oranges and stuff like that. Like cherry tomatoes were sitting in the middle when that fight was going on with the ghoul and Lucy and them, and he's just eating the cherry tomatoes. And that's at the moment I knew that he was actually a good guy, which I kind of knew with the games, but he was a good guy because he paid in bottle caps as soon as he got done eating the cherry tomatoes.
Yeah.
So I I like
Like
the
he kind of
aspect.
follows the rules and he has like
Yes.
some sense of honor, but at the same time, he's really cold hearted on other things.
Well, he knows, hey, this is the way it is. If you Are you too light on the sentimental aspect to it, you're not gonna live
Right.
very long in that world. But
Yeah.
the atmosphere, the steam kind of look like you talking about. It
Steampunk.
just the steampunk. I mean, it's really mesmerizing. I kind of liked it. The storytelling was amazing, and it was a great man. It was a great show. At the
Yeah,
very
we
end,
could talk about it for hours. I mean,
we
there's
can.
certain things that we could pick out and kind of go over.
Yeah, so let's kind of go into it. Let's talk about we kind of talked about the graphics a little bit. I guess you could say graphics, the atmosphere, the culture of the show, and we both agree it's very great. The storytelling, we both said was very great as well. In reference to the backstory, they lead up and they develop a story on all these characters a little bit before they kind of get going, right?
Right.
On each of them, especially with the ghoul, right? Because
Right.
it's one of the main characters. What do you think your GG rating on this show would be?
My GG rating on this show would be a solid 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
I think it's excellent. I think it's not for kids, and you
No.
got to go into it with that mindset. You know, there's some weird stuff. There's a little bit of nudity. There's some gore, but it fits. It's not just there to be there, you know, because like I'm the type of person too that I try to guard my mind from certain things. And if you go into it, um, understanding that this is that universe and that they're not just being like nasty to be nasty, that it actually fits the story. Like that's what this would be like if, you know, maybe not to that extent. It's probably exaggerated on some things, but other things not so much. I mean, when you put a bunch of humans in dire situations, they can be really awful to each other. As you see right now, there's war going on with different factions hating each other.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, dude, I give it a 9.5. You know, most of my rating, I'm so excited when they use actual props and stuff, and the CGI that you see doesn't look like it's computer animated.
That's the big thing.
Like
Yeah.
even everything down to the mech suit, the T whatever, I I forget what the mech suit is
Yeah.
called, but you can tell like it's an actual costume that somebody wears. And you know, at times it does look a little bit rubberized or whatever, but they make it work and it's an actual physical prop. That's what I love
Yeah.
about this. There's so many props and things built and it just
Like
looks
we
so
talked about the
real and
Pit
great
Boy
on camera.
earlier. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just like
yeah,
that.
an actual working machine that they're using on set, like stuff like that I think is what is magic when it comes to, you know, media like this. So yeah, all day I give it a 9.5 out of 10.
I like that 9.5, man. That's pretty strong. So kind of going to my GG rating, I think the kind of the same points that we're making here, but I would have to give the same rating, 9.5 out of 10. I will. I
Yeah.
know I'm kind of piggybacking off of you here on this, but the only
Sure.
thing that kind of holds it from being a 10 out of 10 on this show is it's not more episodes, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
no, I think I wish they went more into, which they might. That's the problem. You can't really hate them on this. Is during the vault situation, like they literally trade people to marry other people, so they don't marry their own kin and cousins and stuff, right?
Right.
And they kind of got this 1950s lifestyle that the woman at the house with the curly hair, okay, we got to get married, we got to have kids, oh, we're gonna raise them in this house, the American dream, right? It's
Yep.
like not white picket fence, but you had this nice vaulted room. We got a toaster, we got a fridge, and that's what they knew, that's what they thought their American dream, right? And
Right.
to kind of go into how that goes and that culture, how they got to that point, I felt like could have been a little bit more backstory on that, which could be introduced
Right.
at a later time, right?
Sure.
And I know it was kind of confusing with her brother when he located Vault, was it 31? I think it is, or something.
Vault
And
31. Yeah, I
yeah,
think it was 31.
and they see all these people in cryotosis or whatever that's sleeping. I don't know. I didn't understand that plot too much.
Yeah, so those were the managers that you remember the brain that was in the robot that he was trying to
Yes.
stab the brother, and he's like, "Wait, where are you going? I need to stab you with this needle." Like that was the guy from 200 years in the past who was making managers to manage the vaults, and he said the only thing, one of the most valuable things is time. So he took his
Yep.
managers that he trained and he froze them so that they would wake up at specific times and be able to like lead the vaults in the directions that they have to lead them in. And there was another plot line too where there was another vault where they were actually experimenting with people, and that one got a little confusing too. Because like you remember there's that big monster with all the fingers in his mouth
Mm-hmm.
that
Yes.
came out of the water. Like I
And
think that was an
a
actual
vault full of
person,
scientists. It was a vault full of scientists. Yeah, and that was an actual
and
person.
they were just doing experiments on people. You know, that's what. Oh yeah, because one of the companies, they got to choose what their vaults did.
Yes.
So there was one company, which I think was Vault Tech, that was all about the American dream, and there was another one that was all about science, and there was another one that was about something else. Like they all try to raise their own like community around a certain theme, and that one just happened to be like experiments in science and all that. Yeah, so
Yep.
um,
It
I
was a
thought
little
that
confusing,
was cool. Yeah,
but
because it was a little bit rushed. Like they
it
could have
was.
explained that over another maybe 2 or 3 episodes, honestly.
Yeah, and I felt like it was all put into one. And I know you get the idea, but I feel like you can explore that, and they might explore that a little bit later. But I'll be it's a cool idea to think about what all these vaults, what happened once they went into the vault. I want to see some of these vaults, some of the stuff that they was doing. You know, like I heard one there was like 20 women to one man, and there was another thing I saw where they talked about. Every year they had to do a sacrifice. One person had to do a sacrificial sacrifice,
Oh my
and it got all
gosh.
the way down to 5 people. And finally, they all decided we're not doing it anymore. And they was like, "Okay, you passed the test," and they all was released from the vault. But at that point, they was dwindled down to
Wow.
5 people from like 40.
Wow.
So it was like, if they would have done that from the very beginning, they would have been really, that they passed the test. So it was like all these
Yeah.
vaults are different tests of society, and I feel like they all fail at some point, and they all kind of join the world like that one experimental person that turned into
Yeah.
that monster, But
I love the
9.
dude that only had the one eye too. Like we can't forget about him. He was hilarious.
Yeah, he was good. I like that. Man, but 9.5, you gave a 9.5. I kind of piggybacked off your score because I think that's a great score to give. If you haven't watched Fallout, guys, I highly recommend it. I know Gray does as well. You got anything else for us, man?
No, man, I think that's it. It was fun to kind of like go through and talk about it a little bit. I'm glad you pushed me to go ahead and watch it all. I mean, I'm like right there. I probably got like 20 or maybe 30 minutes left on it, but I basically know it, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I pretty much did yesterday I did like, what do you call it where you watch them all at once?
A binge. You binged it.
A binge. Yeah, I binged it, and I think that's the way to go with stuff like this, is just to go ahead and binge it and enjoy it that way.
Do you think the next season's going to be dropped all at once, or you think it's going to be one episode apiece each week?
I don't know. I feel like they would probably do the same thing. I think everybody liked this because other places have been going to one episode apiece, and I don't think folks have been liking that as much. So
no.
Hopefully they make it bingeable again. I would like that a lot, but
yeah,
dude, I really enjoyed it. It was fun to talk about these things with you.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Had a good show,
guys. Thank you for stopping in for the show for GG Rated. Y'all stop in again next week. We're gonna have another good one for y'all. Until then, man, y'all enjoy yourself. Leave a comment on the Facebook page, on the YouTube video. Gaming moment of the week for us. That'd be great.
That's right.
Peace.
Later, everyone.